you get back into sort of pretty ancient history, and you know, sort of, I'm not sure how many people would have worked this out. It then starts issuing RARP calls to find itself. And once it's done that, it starts asking the network for its boot parameters. So you have to feed it this again. I'm sure there must be some way around this, but I haven't found it yet. Oh, and you still need to add / into its VFS tab in order for it to sort of work, because otherwise it'll get to that point and give up. So this is an ongoing experiment is making this. Well, one of the reasons for looking at this, actually, is there's people at CERN are looking at building a very large system, you know, 100,000 nodes. And they've worked out that if they didn't have to buy 100,000 disk drives to boot off, they could save themselves a packet. So we tried to persuade them to boot off the network like SmartOS does into a RAM disk and run that way, but no, they want to run off real, genuine root file systems that they can modify. So that's an ongoing experiment. You sort of tinker with it occasionally. But it does actually, it does work. Once I worked out that I got to sort of add these things to my sort of Jumpstart server the same way as I had all my Spark boxes. Yeah, sort of, it just booted first time. Right. Okay. Here we go. Oh, now we have a demo. This is good. That's, oh, right. See? So here I am booting off the ISO. And as you can see, there's standard one, there's outputs TTYA, enable remote SSH, debug, which I needed to use quite a lot early on. Okay. So, boot. Okay, so this is Grub pulling in the boot archive. It's transferred control to the kernel. Did you see the probing for device nodes? That's it, looking around the system for something to find Solaris.zlib and so you can mount /user from. I need a slower machine to demonstrate this. And then you're still in the same script where it's mounting /user actually. Keyboard, language. I need to take this out, don't I? I say it's mounted /user. They're configuring devices because there might actually be device drivers in /user. Not physical device drivers, but streams drivers and the like exist in /user. Make this up and OpenSolaris introduced the Jack user, and nobody else has bothered to change it. Okay, so I'm now running the sort of live image, if you like. What does DS look like? So, that's the root file system. It's a RAM disk. It's used 140 megamp. It's actually 172 is how big I told it. Swap, blah, blah, blah. Okay, right. So, when it went looking around for the CD, it found it over here. This disk. So it's mounted that ISO image, you know, the real basic ISO image on /cd.cd-rom, and there's a Lofi device, which is this one. There's Lofi 1, there's only one, which is /user. Okay, what types of files? let's get a real copy of DF, yes, the GNU infestation has occurred. So, yeah, slash is a UFS file system, slash user, HSFS. There's no ZFS involved here. Everyone thinks Solaris, it's all ZFS, top to bottom, end to end. There's no ZFS here at all. What else can we get? Support PRT conf says, and yeah, it's got various bits. But yeah, you can see it's picked up the boot file from Grub. I haven't set anything else here. Boot arg, there isn't anything. And there's various other things as well that aren't anything to do with the root argument, but it's current. Anything else that we can look at in the live image? It's really very uninteresting. More disks. VMware seems to always come with controller 1, VirtualBox comes with controller 0. And okay, so I'm going to install the correct place. Let's see. I'm going to choose some software to install as well. Let's install XFCE. There it goes. So it's run fdisk on this thing. It's created a root pool. It's populated the file system. It's copying. That's it. When it says copying, that's what it really is doing. It's CPIO A to B. And after a little while, it'll come back, and then it'll actually start installing the optional packages I told you to. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Right, and then off it goes. Chugs us away, all in dependency order. XFCE requires X11, so off it goes. This is a lot of funny packages here, aren't there? Eventually you get there.
And you had to build all these packages?
I build all these packages, yes. Yeah, so I've got a sort of a command that will actually sort of build a package for me from scratch, from nothing. And then there's people who sort of don't read the deprecation notices that come out of glib and GTK and sort of insist on using old code or old locations. Oh, yes, it's got to XFCE, right. Yes. So it removes the live media package, installs Grub, so that's standard install Grub, runs WFS ADM on the target that we just installed, creates the boot archive, that takes, and then what all this is I've mounted my new root file system at /A. I now change mount points to be slash, because that's what it's going to be. And it's just saying I can't. And then it actually tries to mount it on slash, which is never going to work. Now, as you can see, this was reasonably quick. Yeah, I don't understand what that bit's all about. VMware Fusion's quite nice. Unlike VirtualBox, it automatically unmounts your CD device for you, so that when you boot the operating system you've installed, it doesn't boot it back off the CD. So it's only doing 10 there rather than 150 because I don't actually have a pre-built repository for every single possible install profile that a user might use. I've just picked a few sort of intermediate ones along the way. There we are. So we've installed, because it's just copied everything, the usernames and passwords that you have at first boot are exactly what they are on the live CD. And hopefully, well, that would have worked. What have I forgotten? I've obviously forgotten something. Okay. But yes, we are actually in a real system at this point. So that's booting and installing an operating system, and somewhat more quickly and easily than sort of most of the competition, I like to think. Ooh. Okay. Questions, suggestions, or food? What? Yes. So.
Have you considered using like the next server options from DHCP to pass information to the client about where to find various components to bootstrap?
You could do that, yeah. But if you're running a network boot anyway, then you already, well, basically it'll fall through to the defaults of getting everything from the same place. And you have to tell it where things are getting from. I'm not quite sure how much DHCP I actually have before I got /user. And, the current, you're handed the network interface through Grub and down to the kernel. So I think all the userland DHCP stuff is actually in /user. So it's chicken and egg situation.
Do you use this anywhere, like as part of you're using this in your job at all? Or?
Not that I've told the company about. Well, they would have kittens if they did, and something like this was happening. For one or two experimental things we're doing, yes. I use it myself as a desktop. Not quite full time because we've not yet got LibreOffice working correctly, which is annoying. But actually, sort of the regular OpenOffice on Solaris is so old, cludgy that it's not worthwhile. This thing runs a perfectly serviceable version of LibreOffice in somebody working, sufficiently misguided assembly document in some arcane format. And yes, there's one or two little projects that I'm sort of doing on the quiet at work. Things like sort of monitoring servers and the like. That would actually work quite well for. In fact, one of the reasons for doing the PXE boot is that I have to do that for the VMware infrastructure, because they won't let me upload ISOs. So the only way of installing anything on that VMware infrastructure is via PXE. Although they've got to sort of institute this rule now that you've got to use VMware, you've got to have VMware tools installed in your VM, and you've got to have VMX 3 as your network driver, and you'll get sort of cut into pieces if you don't. I don't seem to have applied that to Cambridge yet. They're going to have a terrible shock when they go across one of these. I'd say it's not quite yet ready for the prime time. The one thing that I can just about do at the moment is do upgrade.